just I think we'd better wait for 2 minutes for everybody to join. We are now at 18 participants. Welcoming everybody.
Adil, can you see the screen I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, great. We are ready to go.
Yes, maybe.
have-
Though we are still at 20 participants, actually 18 attendees. We take 1 minute more, not to keep everybody waiting also. And we have to
Okay.
start, I guess. I think we may start, Abdul. What do you think?
Okay. I am audible, Adil. Can we
Yes,
start
yes.
now? I guess. Okay.
Clearly audible.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't know if we have anyone in the good evening time zone. Hi, everyone. It is a pleasure to welcome you all to today's seminar about building cyber-savvy workforce, which is essential for every organization. My colleague Adil and I truly appreciate the time to join us here, and we are excited to share with you our experience, real-world examples, and to try to make our point that cybersecurity, although it's a kind of technical issue, there will be, and it is required for all levels within the organization to look and to be concerned, and they have a great role within the cybersecurity. Once again, welcome. There will be a Q&A session at the end, so feel free to ask questions, share your thoughts to make the full use of this time. So once again, welcome. And to start with, I will introduce myself. My name is Abdul Shalhoub. I'm the Chief Information and Security Officer at Azentio Software. Prior to Azentio, I worked with United Nations as Senior Project Manager, with Texas Instruments as Technical Manager, and with Cisco Systems in the United States. Over the past 30 years, I have been working in IT field, specializing myself in information security, IT auditing, IT governance, and data privacy. I hold a few certification in each of those areas. I'm also accredited trainer for those certifications. My colleague Adel will introduce himself in few words before we start with our content.
Thank you, Abdul. Thank you for the introduction. Actually, I'm Adil Mubarak. Now I'm working as a freelance expert in cybersecurity and business continuity and crisis management. Mainly, I used to work for a big financial institution in Lebanon for over 20 years. I was the CISO and in charge of quality assurance and business continuity. And before, I changed many times in the IT field and IT audit for 40 years. So I had this track record in this field. And as Abdo said, we are here to share some of our experience. And mainly, the objective of this 1 hour webinar is to highlight the need for the business leaders, the managers to understand more about cybersecurity and not perceive it anymore as a technical issue. Please, Abdo, can you proceed?
Thank you, Adel. Just to set the expectation right here, it certainly is not going to go into any deep in technicality. Everybody knows that cybersecurity involves kind of high level of technical complexity. However, with what we are going to show as in terms of cases that is happening in real life now, as well as incident that has happened previously, most, if not all of those cases could have been resolved or avoided with a simple control that has nothing to do with technicality. Just to make this our point, there is a website there. You can see it, the link as well, or you can scan the QR code, which take you to this website. I just wanted to you to click on this link and put on your email. You will get this screen, and put on your email, the email that you usually use for LinkedIn social networking, something that you use frequently. It is perfectly safe, so nothing will be recorded. Your data will be safe. And just click on this pound here. What does this do? It check a database that they have about data breaches that happened previously and compare or check whether this email has been found in those data breaches, which means, again, to see if my data has been exposed in those breaches. Like every now and then we hear or we read about cybersecurity incident, data breach, where large number of users' details has been exposed. Just to show you my case, like what in my case, what happened, like LinkedIn in 2016, there was a breach, 164 million email addresses and password exposed. So my password, LinkedIn password, has been exposed in this data breach. It is my LinkedIn password. So if it happened that I'm using the same password for LinkedIn and my bank account, so my bank account password has been exposed and the hackers knew what was this password. Those are some of them I have used at one point of time, and it happened that those sites have had a data breach, so all my data were exposed. Like here in LinkedIn, another data breach in 2021, and this is Twitter in 2023, where again, my password, my data has been exposed. What we want to show out of this is that, or the point that we want to show you, that cybersecurity incidents are happening and we are affected. It's not only large banks, large organizations that they will they are targeted. It's not only their data that has been exposed, also our personal data. And the same happened for all of us. It's happening all over the time. What we are going to do in the next few slides is to show some top cybersecurity attack or data breaches. Again, we have selected them to show that certain data or data breach incident has happened, could have been avoided with simple control. This is a case that happened in Societe Generale, where this person, whose name Jérôme Kerville, has been holding certain position in the bank where they execute certain transaction for customers, probably loan. I'm not sure if Adil can add some light here. And he moved to another position where he can approve those. Someone in the HR IT, they forgot to take the privilege that he used to have earlier. At what point of time he was able to create this transaction. In his new role, he can approve it. So he started creating transaction, approving it without going through this segregation of duty. And this has posted in the media, and it cost their organization $4.9 billion just by forgetting adjusting their access privilege. So this is one case. Another incident, this is where
sorry to interrupt you. I want to add one point on the previous slide. Yes, just to say that the breach here is on the policy of access control and the sharing of passwords, because he held passwords of his colleagues, and he was not in bad intention trying to do something, but the very simple procedures were breached. It's not a technical issue, as you said, and the bank lost around 5 billion euros. Thank you, Abdul.
Thank you. This is another incident here where one of this organization, which is the second largest health insurance in the US, clicked on a phishing email, and they exposed their username, password, and the cost was exceeded like $100 million. Another case here where there was a vulnerability, known vulnerability in certain systems, which in this case, Apache Struts, and the vendor has released a patch to fix this vulnerability in March 2017. However, this organization, which is a large organization, is Equifax, they failed to apply this patch. They failed to fix this vulnerability in their system. And after 2 months, in May 2017, they were hacked. When they discovered that they were hacked in July, so they had like a good 2 months to apply this patch. They did not apply it. And they didn't notice that they were hacked, and took them 2 months. And the hackers and attacker, they were extracting and collecting information from their system. Here also, like there is a patch and change management policy as in the previous cases. If it was adopted, typically it's not on the same day that the patch is released. Technical team, they go and apply it. They apply it on a testing environment. They get the business environment approval that everything is okay, and they apply it. So if they have applied within 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 months, they had 2 months, they could have saved all these losses. Another case here is that where some group hackers, they managed to contact through SWIFT transactions bank in New York, pretending that they are the Central Bank of Bangladesh. And they have sent 35 fraudulent transactions to illegally transfer up to $1 billion. And they managed to transfer around $100 million. However, in one of the transactions, there was a typing mistake, foundation instead of, they missed to put O. So the bank in New York, it was suspicious for them, and it was during weekend. They said, let us stop it, and let's wait till Monday to verify with the Central Bank of Bangladesh. And this is how they have stopped the remaining. Otherwise, it could have been $1 billion transfer.
Yes, Abdo, here I just want to add that following this incident, if among us there are some attendees involved in the financial sector, they would know that after this incident, Swift Alliance issued the CSP protocol for security for the Swift Alliance, very stringent on security for Swift in order to mitigate the risk of fraudulent acts.
Yeah, there was a major change in the SWIFT because of this.
Yes, sure.
Because there was vulnerability and it wasn't addressed earlier. It was found when those group of people managed to get those transactions executed. Another case, which I've added actually this morning, and this happened yesterday, I don't know if you have heard about it, where the Twitter or X platform was down, or there was outages for large number of users. So in this case, there were waves of attacks on X platform, and this is how it was reported for thousands of users. It was inaccessible, and this type of attack, and this attack was DDoS, denial of service attack. And this kind of, just to brief about this kind of attacks, it's very difficult to avoid them. Because if your, let's say, store is capable to accept like 100 visitors at a time, and you have thousands of visitors waiting to get in, practically those thousands of visitors will block everything and your business will be blocked. In a similar way, in technicality, if your website or service capable to handle thousands of requests at certain period of time, and you have received hundreds of thousands of requests, practically your services will be down. And this is what happens, and it is distributed. So it is not, it will be difficult to understand which is legitimate access and which is not. So that is the difficulties here. All of this that we have listed so far is making certain reality in cybersecurity. And this is a survey that has been done in 2024 about the state of cybersecurity. And there were like 2,000 respondents to this survey globally, not in one market, it's everywhere. And they say that cybersecurity for the cybersecurity professional is becoming so stressful. The threat landscape is increasingly complex. What does it mean? We deal with so many services now. We have and cloud services. It's not anymore. We have a data center that we have all our server there. Access to this data center is controlled. Even the logical access to this data center through firewall, very strong, very controlled. No, our data is everywhere. It's with our insurance company. Our company data is with so many other parties, even with this access control. If you are using software as a service, so the data is distributed everywhere. And for those who work with cybersecurity, is becoming so stressful. The budget at the same time is low. And my colleague Adel in the next few slides explained the perception that is coming in with businesses, how they look at cybersecurity and why they do not be that enthusiastic to put budget there. Hiring qualified people is challenging, and retaining them, because all of these stress, most probably they will prefer to go somewhere else, to another place where they can gain more money and less stress on them. They need sufficient training, and these are the reason of this skill. If from the same survey also, what are the top attack vector? Attack vector is a technical term in cybersecurity also, which means how those attackers or hackers manage to get those data, or to get into our system, or to get into our network. Social engineering, which is tricking the people into giving their personal information, telling them, I'm IT help desk, and it is showing that there is suspicious activity in your account, and we need to make sure that these are legitimate access. Would you please check? I will send you a link. Just put your name, password here, and to verify the same. There are so many things. I just give one obvious example. There are so many other ways that they try to trick user. Malware is to push some suspicious or software within our systems. Unpatched system and denial of service, like the case that DOS that happened yesterday for X, and unpatched system, the one that we have given the example for this Equifax case. If we want to go through the whole list here, there are other cases like unpatched system, third party. As I said, there are a lot of our data with third party. What does it mean? We are not responsible on these data anymore? No, we are responsible, and we have to do due diligence on those third party. And here where it comes the role of business. So IT and security is not an island within this organization. It should be looked at an integral part within the business. And whenever we are getting a new vendor, it has to be checked against security, whether they are secure enough to share with them our data. Zero-day exploit is a nightmare for the security team and security people. It's like, it is a vulnerability that we don't know about it. Only the hacker, they come to know about it before we know about it. They exploit the data and they take it, and then just by chance, if we discover that we were hacked, we try to figure out how to fix ourselves or how to protect ourselves. A question here was asked for those in the same survey. This is the status of 2024. It was asked like, do you expect that you will get hacked in this year, like 2025? Around 50% they said it is more likely we will get hacked. So now with all this coming around us, and I'm sure you have heard about the new trends in artificial intelligence, we may be asking ourselves whether artificial intelligence here is helping the cybersecurity people or it is additional threat. And the answer, in short, it's both. It's certainly in certain tools like automating threat detections and response, where we have artificial intelligence going through all this large amount of data about logs, who is accessing what, from where they are logging in. If one account is logging in from 10 different countries, it is suspicious and we should immediately lock this account. If there are like 2,000 and 5,000 log in one account, and probably those are not users' account, probably those are system accounts, we need a mechanism to detect them and stop this account. And this is where the new trends in artificial intelligence and other like fraud detection, endpoint security, also those analysis about if one of our users download suspicious link or click on a suspicious link, we want to know as fast as possible, lock this account, fix, change password, whatever needs to be done, assess the damage before it gets propagated. So this is another link that would like to share with you where it shows the cases or data breaches that happening in the past few years. You can scan this barcode, QR code, just for your knowledge. With this, we'll hand over to Adel to share with us how cybersecurity is perceived by the business management. We saw that some of the stress or major stress is the budget is low. At the end, we need the business buy-in to cooperate. Adel, would you take from here?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Abdo, for this view of where do we stand in cybersecurity in terms of risks around us and everywhere. In every technology that we use, we are exposed to cyber attacks in a way or another. Now I would like to share with you a bit of my experience in this part and how till date security is perceived as a technical issue. When I started my journey in cybersecurity back in 2000, 2001, definitely people were not ready. And I discovered personally that we talk about doing awareness for employees and big institutions. Actually, CISO have to provide awareness for employees and for top managers and for everyone in the institution to make things happen when it comes to cybersecurity. So till date, the perception is that cybersecurity is a technical issue. It's not, top managers are not really aware that they are involved in this part of the operation. They don't perceive it like it's something that they have to handle it. So they prefer to move it and to transfer it to IT and to people that they have this role in the institution. While if we talk about cybersecurity governance, definitely it's a top-down issue, and the board and the top management is the main sponsor for this this framework to be implemented and to secure the business. Go ahead, Abdul.
I would like to share one quick example happened with me, Adel, about this case and about patch management. You know, it's essential to have change management process whenever. So IT team are not allowed to introduce change to production critical environment without going through a process, which is making sure that this change is approved and tested on a testing environment. So we were, when we early stage, when we were applying this change management, and I want the business manager's approval that to test this environment before pushing it to this. So I had faced resistance, said, no, Abdul, you know better. If it is safe, go ahead and apply it. Say, no, I will apply it for you on testing environment. You have to allocate few users to test it and give me the green light that yes, it is okay to move. And this is what you have said, Adel. Example to what you said.
So till date, the perception is that cybersecurity is a technical issue, like firewall, antivirus, encryption, and so on. Cybersecurity always looks complicated issue for business managers, and they prefer to transfer it to technical people, which is not true, as a matter of fact. It's always very expensive. Why it is very expensive? And this is one major challenge for CISO to face the top management, is how to get the budget, for cybersecurity. And in the previous slides, where Abdo showed us that one of the challenges that CISOs are stressed of is the low budget. We don't have sufficient, we will never have sufficient budget for cybersecurity. That's why you have to do with what you have. Because when you provide the management, the committee, the board with a what if scenarios that you want to cover by implementing new controls, new systems, bringing new resources and human resources, technical people like building a SOC or something like that, they will face you with and what if not scenarios. Are you asking me to spend money just for probability of things to happen? And this is very challenging. And here it's very, and at the start it was very, very difficult for me to get the money. And then I learned how to build my business case. You have to provide key risk indicators, you have to put some metrics, you have to use math while building your business case to get the money. Otherwise, you will always be lacking proper budget for cybersecurity. And the best scenario till now, I'm as a cybersecurity expert working in Lebanon and in the Gulf region mainly, everybody is after compliance with regulation. So now in Lebanon, for example, the financial sector is regulated. So all the banks and financial institutions, now all the new companies now providing e-wallets, and so they are under regulation, then they have to have a CISO, they have to have some policy, they have to implement because it is regulated. Until now, it's not really embedded as a business objective to have your processes, the processes well protected. So in the Gulf now, in the Saudi Arabia and Emirates and everywhere, there is regulation. So people are after just ticking the box and making sure that they are compliant with regulatory requirements, and not to have something coming from the regulatory bodies like saying you're not compliant and you face some issues in this respect.
So in most of the cases, it is just to have this audit passing with minimal interruption, and then we finish this audit and we continue business as usual in a different way. So, and this is where it is really lacking, the gap between business and IT, is that in IT, it is possible that there are places or area of improvement. There are procedures that is not followed. It is good to be highlighted in certain area and not to be like to enforce it. However, because of this case that our main is to be compliant and that's it, we don't care about any other. So risk management may not be that effective. It is just so that, okay, we are doing this, we will select few risks and this is our control and that's it. So there will be not enough time to be spent on this process, and there is open mind of the discussing and understanding the risks associated within our organization.
Exactly. It's a matter of, it's a matter of instilling the mindset, the concept of the culture of security. Because you may find, for example, institutions are, some institutions, and I've seen this, ISO certified, ISO 27001, which is as you know, the standard for cybersecurity. They are certified, but it does not mean directly that they are secure, because they have the documentation, they have the processes, they have some KPIs, but they have also many exceptions. They don't apply everything. So being certified means you have the proper documentation. I don't know, Abdul, if you would like to add this, because you have the
Well, it's not only documentation, Adil. It's documentation, and whenever you have to do the follow-up for renew your certification, they check whether you are following or applying those certification. One of the key issue is in the ISO certification is, are you introducing a new improvement? But if you are looking at it just for compliance, you will always find ways to keep your certification, to get certified and keep the certification without getting the real value out of
benefits,
having or real benefits from having a proper procedures, following this procedure over time, improving your practices, improving your defenses, without having this concern is, no, I want zero non-compliance. I want zero observation for improvement in any audit. So this is what we are missing. Even it happened that in certain cases, we look at certain vendor. As I said, we have to evaluate vendor. In some of the cases that happen, we look at vendors, they are like a few users. And then when we look at their SOC 2 report, which is another tool to assess the vendors, how well they are protecting our data when we deal with, there is something called SOC 2 report. There will be no exceptions. And we know what SOC 2 means, that there will be a follow-up over a period of time, like 3 months, about every case's evidence they will come and will take to make sure that you have a good procedure, policies, procedures, and guidelines. You are applying them. And when we've checked on the ground, on a real case scenario, it is well applied without any exceptions. So yes, sometimes they find ways to bypass and report by itself without looking at the indicators may not be accurate.
IT in general is not aligned with business, and most organizations do have some controls here and there and in an ad hoc manner, but lack a strategic view. This is very common. aligning IT initiatives, aligning IT budget with business objectives is not always applied, and it is rarely applied because few organizations do understand what is IT governance and how to implement IT initiatives aligned 100% with business objectives. We have to have a business strategy, and then this business strategy has to be reflected in a technology strategy, and here comes the cybersecurity strategy to make things happen in the proper way, and to make sure that every penny in the investment done in IT and in security is really targeting a specific objective and made the institution achieving its business objectives. So this is one area where, because now the technology is moving in this trend, people would go investing in this trend, and without properly securing the technology, and maybe this technology is not needed for the specific business objectives.
Just to add one point about this, the need of aligning business with IT, which is typically, it's not that easy, because the businesses, they look at it, this is something technical, and they want to get rid of it. And they just wanted to deal with like those data center. If we have any interruption, we go for them, and then so they don't look at the new tools. And you know that nowadays there are trends, there are tools, there are practices. They have, like, take for example Uber. Uber came from technology. They cannot segregate technology from businesses. Okay, traditional businesses like for example, banks, financials, even now financial services, when they approve and open an account online without having the person. So those fintech kind of businesses, they are getting way out of the market because of some institutions are not following the technology.
Yes, actually, only when we are hit with a security incident, then there is interest at the level of the business, at the level of the management, to invest money. And I would like to tell you a story. Back in 2005, when I was preparing a business case to build a disaster site for the bank where I used to work, and they were not really happy with a budget to put in place a disaster site with business continuity site, with all the budget involved in such a big project, like sacrificing a building and all this. And I was receiving something like, we passed the whole war, 15 years of war, and we managed to continue business. Why do we need this? Just after the war of 2006, 2006, when the war stopped in August 2006, the management came to me, where is your project? Show us your project. We need to invest in such a project. So now this is old, but now also we see institutions where they don't have really cybersecurity framework implemented properly. When they have a ransomware attack or any type of attack, they start by doing the forensics, and then they want to protect their environment. So this is, till now, this is what we are facing. One problem here also is how to make the difference between the role of IT, the role of cybersecurity, the information security, IT audit, the SOC. All this is mixed up in the head of the top managers. It's very complicated for them to show what is the role of IT as technical operation, what is the role of the CISO, the cybersecurity guy who is in charge of implementing the policies and procedures to assess the risks, to provide assurance about to conduct a threat risk assessment properly and to provide solutions. And then they start to hear about IT audit. And then what is the role of IT audit? Why we have an extra guy coming in this area also, again, to make sure that things are being done properly. So
And
the
here,
doer
one of the
checker,
reasons, sorry, Adil, one of the reasons
go
is
ahead.
the low budget, is that they
Yeah.
want like minimum team members, and they, and the business's perception also is that why do we need information security and we need IT? Simply because the objective of each of these two teams, they are contradicting. If I'm IT person, I'm required to prepare a laptop for a newcomer. So my objective is to finish this job as fast as possible and then deliver this laptop for this guy. If it happened that I have a laptop in the store, I just do any refresh, create a new account, and I give it to newcomers. If I'm an information security guy, I would say, no, wait, we have to delete all previous data. It's not delete, making sure that the way we are deleting this data, no one can recover. You know that in technicality, there is always undelete. And it is possible if we don't take this into the right attention, it is possible that some confidential data from the previous user of this laptop can be leaked to the next user of this laptop. So this is the contradiction, and a little bit of people knows that the importance of security operating center, where we need a dedicated team to keep looking on those logs. Now, okay, the artificial intelligence, new tools helps, but again, those tools, you have to give them the rule. You have to feed in the rule. You have to make sure they are fed with the data, and the data is collected properly from your system within those artificial intelligence threat analysis and response. Also about privacy, for example, here.
One extra confusion for the business leaders.
Yeah.
Difference between privacy and security.
Yeah, this is something again new. And here also it confuse or overlap between legal and IT and businesses. So earlier, like no one was paying attention. Okay, fill in this form and that's it. We will give you account. So filling in this form, now we have to worry, where are those personal data for this guy or this person is saved? Is it used for the same purpose that was collected for? Like I'm doing an online in a shop, and they say, okay, if you have an account with us, we will give you 5-10% extra discount on your invoice. I will be happy. I will go fill in this and that's it. I will get 5%. So what this organization, what right do they have to use my data? And are they taking my consent? And then is there a need to have a consent to share this data with other organizations or not? Do our system really segregate those personally identifiable information? And this is a technical term, PII, personally identified information. So where they are stored, and now to add complexity here, this cross-border data transfer. So if I'm sitting here, I'm connected to a system that is in the Gulf or in India or in Europe. It's a cross-border data transfer, and the jurisdiction of the data is different. So it's a little bit, it needs some attention here. So what is the impact of cybersecurity on business operation? And here we went through those recent cyber attack statistics, that there are serious consequences, as we have seen, on financial side, reputational and legal side for those cases. And that's why cybersecurity really matters. for business. And certain cases, now, as we said, it's becoming complex, especially when dealing with those services, cloud services. So users working from home, they are not coming to office. And those users are connecting directly to those services, cloud services, whether it is like, if I'm a sales representative, I'm connecting to Salesforce, where it's manage all their leads, opportunities, and sales contracts. It's outside our data center. And they are not connected to our firewall. So how come, what will happen if I click on a link that is suspicious? How the IT team of my organization will get to know that without allocating certain budget, without introducing new tools to track all these stuff and help our team members. So here, where we should make sure that whenever we look at our product, our services, whether we are buying or we are developing, we are applying security by design. It will be too late to look at the security part if it is kept later during the testing or during the receiving the product. Take, for example, in the software development. Typically, the traditional way is we gather all the requirement, we give it to a software architect where they put the component of the system, and then we give it to coder, they start coding, and we do testing up until the product is ready, and we do this user acceptance testing or UAT. So if we come at very late stage, we'll tell, sorry, but the cashier in a banking, let's say, we should have like selected number of accounts that those cashier will not have access no matter what. Or we tell them, look, if the transaction is over certain limit, we don't want them to look at it or to see it. So we are introducing a new kind of security related requirement that wasn't there. What the developer do usually is that they do some tweaking here and there, and this is where vulnerabilities start to appear, because that was not by design. It was like introduced later.
Abdul, I would like to add just one small comment here. And in IT acquisition, software acquisition process, the RFPs that we used to put functional requirements and technical requirements, definitely we should have security requirements while acquiring a new system to make sure that we have a minimum, for example, integration with Active Directory, password policy, all this, it has to be in the RFP while acquiring a new system.
And here also we need to make sure that the culture of cybersecurity is coming from top down. So when we are introducing, for example, multi-factor authentication, when we want to log into something, we will get a message on our mobile to verify that this is us. We don't want the leadership or the executive team say, no, can you exclude us from all these hassles? Or changing the password every, like, I don't know, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Can you make it like 6 months? Do I have to change my password and remember all this stuff? And we shouldn't be starting taking exceptions, because typically those accounts for the CFO, for the CEO, for those are the most targeted accounts, and they should be protected as much, if not more, than any other account within the organization. So it's very important to have the cybersecurity culture from top down without taking exception, and this should have acceptance from the leadership team. And here, another aspect within cybersecurity is the human factor. And as we said, one of the top attack vectors, how attackers gain access to our data and to our systems using social engineering, using phishing. If we don't have this human factors taking into consideration, one, to address this, typically there is a training and awareness program. It should be there. But alone, without doing some tests, may not be efficient. To give an example, we do typically this phishing attack simulation, is that we send a phishing email to our team member, and this is a good practice that is being done. Sends phishing email to all staff, and we monitor, we see how they use, how they react. Are they clicking on the suspicious link or no? Are they voluntarily giving their username and password? Although there are certain indications, as per our awareness and training, they should look at, and they should be suspicious enough for them to report this case, that I've received this email, and I'm not sure if it is legitimate or not. It's okay. Sometimes they report something, it ends up as legitimate email. We prefer that we get those false positive while dealing with cases where it goes unnoticed. And it happens in certain cases about the culture here, is that users, they click on the suspicious link, users, they provided their username, password, and then they may give it another thought, and they made it, this might be suspicious, let me delete this email. They deleted the email, and nothing was reported to ITT.
They zip it.
In those simulations, we know what happened, and luckily those were simulation. But in real case scenario, the password of those users are with the attacker, with the hackers. And you know that there is no protection when someone discloses their password. So we give this password to this person, it should be protected. And this is what we mean here by the human factor of cybersecurity that should be taken care as well. Here, when we say cybersecurity, it should be part of the business. It shouldn't be looked at like additional burden on them. And again, it should be accepted by the business management as well. And that's why a session like what we are doing here is essential to raise awareness about how essential cybersecurity for businesses, how essential they should know, and they should know what's their role, what other parties' role within the organization there.
And we have to our suppliers. It's very important to see how our suppliers are supporting our business and to what extent they are protected, and what if they have their cybersecurity policy implemented, and so on. This is very important to look not only in the perimeter, internal perimeter, but our dependency on third parties.
Exactly. Now, what key security policies that every organization needs? And when we say policy, some people, they may look at it, this is a piece of paper. Why do we need to worry about? Or, come on, let us have it to please our auditor. Let us have it to please the compliance, to be compliant that we have information security policy. Actually, the information security policy or the policy in general play a key role on two sides. Internally, it supports the information security team. Typically, the policy comes from the CEO, from the senior level. It supports the IT team or this information security team, saying that, look, our CEO says that we look at security seriously, and it is required from you as a business manager to help in the assets classification. So another policy is access control, assets classification, because IT team, they will not know that this repository has confidential data, or this repository there have a copy of confidential data. At the end, the confidential data may be leaked from a copy of, not from the main database. If I'm taking that copy, I'm holding it in my Gmail or in my mobile. It is not protected, it's not encrypted. When my mobile is stolen or lost, so the data is compromised. It's
Even
company
out from a
data.
hard copy, sometimes we don't pay attention to hard copies to print outs. These are also means to support or to deliver critical data that they need to be protected properly.
Yeah, so some of the key security policy here is that change management, that IT do not have the freedom to go and change everything, anything within production environment without being tested and approved, so we can keep track of what's going on those production systems. Access control, asset classification, and incident response. Like when we have a security incident, we have to follow a certain process. And in military, they say that when we are in the middle of a battle, we have to execute a plan. We cannot go and put a plan. The plan should be there and we execute it. So these are some of the key policies. And now how all this comes with the emerging cyber threats, with the ransomware. So these are real threats. And now with the deep fake, like simulating the voice, simulating video, simulating, it is more challenging. And ransomware is becoming more challenging, where people are encrypting our data, and the only protection is maybe to go to the old strategy, is to have a called back up on certain period of time, because anything online might be the primary repository as well as the replica, both might be affected. This is the last slide, is that what we really need to do. And here, with all these complexity, we have, from business management perspective, we have to be open-minded. We have to have a close look at where are our risks, and to have trained and skilled people assessing our risk, and we trust them. At the end, business should make sure that they have quality team members, that they are addressing all kinds of risks and suggesting what is really needed for the organization, like zero trust network, where all users, as I said, user working from home, connecting directly to data center that is not ours. How we are going to protect ourselves? So there are new concept called zero trust network, where all users virtually connect in one place, and this one place we have control on it. So only through this route we allow them to access companies' resources. This is one thing. Another thing is identity and access management. We have a system to track. It's not like only one root password or one super user password that we can keep it in an envelope. It's much more complicated, especially when it comes to large organizations. Mainly that's it. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to add in this for this point, the role of the CISO while asking for resources and tools to implement, as I said before, they will never have what they imagine as a budget for cybersecurity. They need to classify their risks and to put the money where they can protect more in a specific environment. And the managers at the same time, they need to ask for this classification. Okay, you tell me that in this threat landscape that we are facing every day, we have plenty of risks that we need to mitigate. Please classify them by order of importance, definitely probability and impact, and then we will start working bit by bit as much as we can spend money. So this is very important to choose what are the people that we need to recruit, who are the partners that we need to contract, and what are the tools to implement to get the maximum benefit out of our limited budget in cybersecurity.
Just one few closing and help me here, Adel.
Yes,
What we would
sure.
like to summarize here that cybersecurity incidents are real, are happening every day. I'm not sure if you had the chance to check this website to see if your own data is compromised or was compromised at certain period of time or no. And when we are hit, there is no much things to do, is that just to limit the damage. The damage will be there. And the key thing is here that cybersecurity is everybody's responsibility, starting from the board, the CEO and executive management, going to all team members within an organization. And that's, you would like to add anything before we, did I miss something?
It's the same idea, just to say that even if you call your employees for an awareness training on cybersecurity, if you don't get the sponsorship of the management, if they don't take you seriously, nobody will attend your training. So it's always coming from the sponsor. It's always coming from the sponsor.
And
So
this is
you
what
have
we
to
said, it
convince
should
them.
be coming from top down. So
Exactly.
all should be attending this training awareness session and interacting, and not attending there just to attend, because now most of the meetings are online, that we log in there and we can do something else just to take that.
And we don't sign the attendance sheet.
Yeah. So that is important. We are open. The last
Yes.
few slides, Adel, it took a little bit more, so we are.
No, we are okay. We are okay on time.
We are okay to take a few minutes to answer questions.
Yes,
What
and if somebody would like to share some experience, if what we exposed, you are familiar, you are facing the same challenges, or you have different experiences, please, you can enrich the audience with your experience.
One last thing, Adel, you may highlight about the training that can be done. Can you say a word about this?
Yes. Actually, Formatec is providing now a series of training. To mention some, they are providing the cybersecurity for business leaders. So it's not technical. Again, it's just to get people aware of their responsibility at the top level in the organization. IT audit for business leaders, and the last one is IT governance, how to align IT with business objectives, also for business leaders. So Formatec is providing those training, and if any joiners during March will get 15% on the fees. And it's very important, if you are in the business side, to attend such trainings, because it will give you plenty of insights on your role, on how to protect your business objectives. And if you are a CISO or IT manager, to spread the word and to bring people on this training, so just to make things happen and to bridge the gap between the business and the technical part. Thank you, everyone, and please proceed if someone would like to ask or to present any experience that you would like to share with us.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.